All righty. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Chairs. My name is Erica Chancellor, your host. And today we have a special guest in the house. Beyond the Chair followers, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, make sure you tell us how you like our new guest that's going to be on the show. Um, let's see, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, you can.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Miki Wright, and I am a salon business coach, and I'm the host of Beauty Superstars Talk, which is a podcast where I get to interview Black beauty bosses who are excelling in the industry each and every week. And I help hairstylists and salon owners to basically get more clients and make more money. And what else? It's like lots of good stuff. So yeah, I also help with, with hiring in terms of growth, hiring assistants, BAs, that type of thing, and developing your leadership skills. So
Okay, perfect.
in
And
that
you also are a licensed stylist, correct?
yes, yes, I've been a licensed cosmetologist for more than 3 decades, and hairstylist
Wow.
is what I've done. I stopped doing hair end of August 2019. So
Okay.
quite a few years, and I'm still helping hairstylists in a variety of ways right now. So
Perfect. So did coronavirus have anything to do with you? You
no,
know, your okay.
no, it
All
actually
right.
hadn't
I was
occurred yet. Yeah, it was right before that. So yeah, with everything that transpired with coronavirus, I'm not sure what my decisions or choices might have been at that time, but yeah, but it was all beforehand. So yeah. I
okay.
was grateful to be able to help a lot of people kind of through that time frame with the lockdowns and all of that. So
All right. Perfect. So I thought that would may have been the reason, but it was a totally different reason. But before we get started, I want to talk about some current events that's been coming up in our industry. And I think the most important thing to me is our health and safety and licensure. And um it seems that things are changing when it comes to that, and a lot of states now are starting to deregulate that. And specifically Minnesota right now has a deregulation bill 2591 and 2623. Those are two bills that they've introduced to deregulating cosmetologists. And no longer you have to have a license to do hair,
okay.
although they still want to regulate it somewhat on a local level. But licensure as we know it is really about to change when it comes to bills like that that's coming up on the table with cosmetology. Do you have any insight on that? Or
Well, it's there are changes that are being made all over the country, in varying various states. It's like I have been keeping up kind of loosely with some of the states and some of what they're saying because the wording can be really key as well. So
yes.
one of the bills that I read, and I don't remember which state it was for, they were deregulating anything that was not deemed um, it wasn't dangerous, that was the word, but something similar to that. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe you can blow dry and, do a shampoo and blow dry or something like that, no chemical services. But it pertained to things like eyebrows and maybe it was waxing. I'm not even sure. But the one that struck me was eyelashes. I'm like,
Mm,
if they looked at where your eyelashes are located,
I know.
right
Yes.
your eyes, which your eyes are not replaceable. It's like if someone makes a mistake, uses the wrong pressure, the wrong, application, those types of things. It's like you can really be damaged. And it's like we're seeing so many things that are damaging to, the hair, to the scalp, and all of that are going on right now that it's scary to think that, it's like, oh, okay, just, literally almost have a free for all.
Yes. Yes. It's hard to see health and safety rules not attached to that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. The whole thing for licensing is that it's to protect the public. And
Right.
if there's anything that's shown us that we need to be in position to protect the public, it's COVID, like all of
Yes.
us here It's like a lot of, I mean, I think most salons, most hairstylists, because of our training, it's like we've always been doing a lot of sanitation. Of course, there are some that, have been a little lax or what have you, but for the most part, it's like we know what to do. It's like, it's been elevated now so that you have the, almost, I think it went from sanitation to sterilization, but, a lot was going
Yes,
on behind the scenes that clients never knew about to keep them healthy and safe. And there's a lot
definitely.
of things right now, like we have the COVID protocols, but there's a lot on the other side that I think isn't being looked at or even thought about as far as how dangerous it is. So,
Definitely. Definitely. So you brought up coronavirus.
yes.
I know that it has had an impact on everyone's business. Is it some things that you would like to share with me about how coronavirus kind of affected your business, if it has in any way?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just affected us overall. And, it's like I've
Hmm.
experienced some challenging situations, not necessarily on the business side, but more on the personal side with having a friend her husband was critically ill and hospitalized for 46 days on a vent. And there were several times that they didn't expect him to make it. And so we were kind of working closely together before that. So I was on the phone with her like almost blow by blow. And so it was very, very emotional. It's like she organized prayer vigils and we were part of that and gratefully, prayerfully, it's like he has recovered and they've actually written a book about it. But it was
Wow.
a very emotional experience to go through. And then I have I'm not sure if you're familiar with Charles Gregory, but one of the top hairstylists in our community
Hmm.
actually did Andra Day's hair for the U.S. versus Billie Holiday. Um, am I saying her name correctly? Billie Holiday movie, and um, and was, I guess, on the short list for the nominations. Didn't get the nomination, but he's been a long time educator and really instrumental in. He got him his kind of fell into the film and television industry and made every effort to open doors for Black and brown people to be able to
Hmm.
follow in his footsteps and put together training to help more people to get into that industry because it's been pretty exclusive for a long time. So he passed away, one of the early victims of coronavirus. And I've known him for many, many years. So it was very challenging in that way. And I guess in
Wow.
terms of the business, I'm a coach now. It's like I help people with their businesses, to stay in business, to grow their business. And
Hmm.
during that time, there was a ton of panic. And so I really just felt my main role was to just be that calm, steady person to say, okay, let's look at step one, step two, step three, so that you're not in panic because you can't make good decisions when you're in panic. And so, running to people's houses to do hair when I'm sitting here watching my friend's husband, on a vent and hearing other barbers and folks who passed away because they're doing things like that, it's like none of it's worth it. It's at the end of the day, it's just hair, it's like it'll be there when we can come back. And with, so many things in place, it's like we kind of get in or we're in a mode, I guess you could say, before that of being
Hmm.
busy, busy, busy. Anyone you ask in February, it's like, what would you do if you had a few days off? Oh my God, I'd be so excited to have a few days off. And then, here comes March and everything's locked down and we have a few days off, not
Yes.
necessarily by choice, but it's like we can choose what we're going to do with it. And so planning how to make a better business on the way back and just, really keeping what's important in front of you. I did like a 7-step financial guide to help people just kind of like, okay, let's look at what's important. Having a roof over your head, having some food for you, your family. Transportation may be on the list. It may or may not be on the list. And,
Right.
let's see, how do we take care of these things? And so if you're concerned with feeding your child, it's like, let's see what resources there are available. And it's like, there's a solution to every problem. So,
Right.
panicking doesn't help it.
Definitely. So with those business owners, were you able to help them with COVID plans or anything like that that would help assist their salons in being protected from the COVID virus?
In terms of their health part or the business part?
Protocols, any type of protocol or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely. I'm a little bit. I've always been a little bit germophobic, so I want things clean and organized, and it's like, and I'm not even that organized, but it's like I just like things so that you can function, so that you can work easily and quickly to get folks in and out of the salon. You know, Having paperwork. I think the paper trail has been very good. To have some of those types of things in place where people are saying, themselves, not verbally to you, but on something that's recorded, either a piece of paper that, or that, almost nobody's touching, or something that's on a
Mhm.
screen where they can do it on their screen and say, I haven't had a fever in 14 days. I haven't been exposed to anybody, so it's just kind of another layer of protection, taking their temperature when they get in. Some people do the sanitizing. I'm a hand washer. It's like, I want your hands washed in some water with some soap,
Yeah.
and then, it's like mask 200%. It's like, I'm real clear. There are some people, it's like, oh, my clients don't want to wear a mask. It's like, it's fine if you don't want to wear a mask for me, but I won't be able to do your hair. So it's
Right.
100%, 200% mask, but I'm not gonna make anybody wear one, but I'm not working with anyone or around anyone without one. And,
Right.
shields and, and taking breathing breaks, I think is really important too, because like when you're in that mask for long periods of time, it's like you need fresh air. And
Mhm.
so being able to schedule so you're going outside and being able to just take that self-care. And it's an emotional and stressful time for everyone. And we all
Mhm.
know, being behind the chair, it's like everybody, whatever's going on in their lives, they bring to you, once they sit down, it's like, woo, girl, let me tell you, you know. And so,
Yes.
like you're getting all this from all these different places, plus your own stuff. And so it's important, I think, to do fewer clients, to have it so that they aren't overlapping, of course, can't really double book, unless you have really a lot of space to be able to space people apart. But um
Mm.
just working smarter. I think that it was a global pause for us to be able to actually take a deep breath, slow down, and
Mhm.
look at what's really
Mhm.
important. What is really
There you
important?
go.
What do we
That's
need to
what I was gonna add on to that. What
do?
was really important in life right now?
Exactly. And life is one of them, breathing and staying safe. Yeah.
So when did you figure out that you wanted to be in the beauty industry, and what inspired that?
Oh, wow. That's
I
it's
love
an interesting story.
I get some crazy stories.
Well, I actually have been around it pretty much my whole life. My mom went to cosmetology school when I was about 6 weeks old, and
Oh, okay.
she um, stayed in the industry. I'm gonna get a sip of water here. She stayed in there until she had my sister next to me, a couple years younger, and then she went back when I was about 12 or so. And so,
Mm.
I was, the little toddler, I guess you could say, under the dryer with a whole head of rollers. I was the
Right.
practice model and everything. And I would go with my mom to hair shows and all that kind of stuff. And I always found it really kind of fascinating and fun. My first love was fashion, but I had no idea that I was going to go into the beauty industry like at all. It never even crossed my
Um,
mind. And so I went to college. I always went to school part time and I worked full time. And one of my
okay.
colleagues, she's like, "Oh, I like the way you keep your hair, and you think you could do my daughter's hair?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I probably could." And so, I went over and I did like a relaxer and cut their hair, trim their hair, or what have you, and gave them a style. There were two young ladies, and her husband is kind of the type of person that just like never likes anything. And when I finished,
Uh-huh.
it was just like, "Oh my God, that's a precision cut." It's like, you should just quit your job and do hair. And I was like, what? And so, I talked to my mom and she's like, well, definitely don't quit your job. So
Right.
look at going to school, and see if you even like it. You know what I mean? Doing a couple people's hair is not gonna be a career builder.
Right.
But I did do that, and I say once I fell into it, it's like I fell in love with it, and so it was on from there. So that's how I really got my start in here. And I guess I had
Perfect.
learned a lot more, or had a lot more talent than either me or my mom recognized. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Definitely.
and my
Because
sister.
you end up staying in the business for how long?
Oh, it's been more than 30 years now.
Yeah. See.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My sister,
So
she
what
always
type
had
of
interest.
advice would
Oh, I'm
I didn't
sorry.
hear you?
Oh, I was just saying my sister, she always had interest in it, and she's actually a stylist as well. So we're a
Oh,
family full
okay.
of, yeah, and I have another sister that's not in it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, a whole
Wow.
pair.
So what type of advice would you give a new professional that's coming into the business?
Oh gosh, this is fun. So one of the things that I really, appreciate how much it takes to get through school, to get through getting your
Mhm.
license and all of that. So anytime I hear anybody that's made those types of accomplishments, I'm always just like, congratulations, great job. It's like you did it, perseverance and really making it through to the end. But within my congratulations is like, okay, you just graduated from kindergarten. It's like that is the beginning. It's like it's not the end. And it's
Perfect analogy.
yeah, yep. And your talent is not going to be enough. It's not going to be
Mhm.
enough. It is going to be, I'd say about 80% of your success is going to be things that aren't related to your ability to style hair, to braid hair, to do skincare, to do whatever it is that you do in the industry. The other
Yeah.
things are going to make the biggest difference, and that's stuff like, marketing,
Mhm.
being able to not only find clients, but keep them coming back so you create steady income, and putting yourself out there in certain ways, so that people are attracted to what you're wanting to do. So those are the things
Mhm.
that I would say, never stop learning. It's like, learn more about hair, obviously, learn more about business, and also learn about
Mhm.
people, because it's a people
Definitely.
business. Yeah.
Because I think that that's one thing that suffers in our business is great customer service. A lot of
Yeah.
people complain about the customer service that they get. And so that's one thing that I pride myself on as a business owner is just being able to make that customer feel comfortable and
Hmm.
feel like they are getting the best service that they can get
Right.
and that they want to come back, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And you've been in business for quite a while, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
something's working. So so you guys
Yes.
listen to her. Yeah. Yeah. You
So
don't stay
do
in
you
business
believe?
that long by accident.
Yes. Do you believe that the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology has shown diversity when it comes to its curriculum and teaching about hair?
Oh boy. So the board, the schools, all of the above, is that correct?
Yes, all of the above that's connected. Because the
There,
board said, yes, they've learned everything.
the board right now, I mean, we have licensing. I'm glad that we do have licensing in place, but in a lot of ways, the licensing is not adequate at all. It doesn't address people
It's
actually
just
knowing
a
anything.
basic standard, like you were saying,
I don't even
kindergarten.
think it's a basic anymore. There are a lot of
You know?
states that I know that don't have finger waving is no longer a requirement. You don't
Mhm,
have to
mhm,
finish a style. That's no longer a requirement. You don't have to do a
mhm,
lot of things that you're going to need to know how to do as a stylist. It's like straight hair has
mhm,
been in, just, flat ironing it straight, but that's not always going to be the case. And that's not really dressing hair. You know what I mean? So it's like
mhm,
we need to know, the foundation of hairstyling is finger waving. It's like it's not fun to learn, I can tell you. But you need to understand how to move hair, not shift hair around, but actually move it, comb it,
yes.
massage it, keep it healthy, all of those things. And none of that stuff is included in a lot of the boards that I've heard. I don't know about all 50 states, but so from a board standpoint, I don't think they're looking at a lot. And when you can leave and you've never even finished one head of hair, and not to say that that's the be all end all, but it's like, at least, if you're going to give me a license that says I know how to do hair, at least see me do hair. And so
Exactly.
from the
Yeah.
board standpoint, I think there's a lot lacking, a lot of changes that could be made, but will they be made? I don't know. And from the
Yeah.
school standpoint, I feel like, I think they're trying, but there's a lot of lack of education in textured hair. And I think we
Mhm.
have seen that stand out so much over the last year, and people coming forward, both Black people, white people, and everyone in between, saying,
Mhm.
I never really learned it, or I learned it because there was a certain teacher and she kind of took extra time with me. It's like it's not part of the
Mhm.
curriculum, and there's not a true understanding and probably not a true appreciation for teaching it. But it's like the
Yes.
world, 70% of the world has not straight hair.
Right.
Yeah. And so we need to as hairstylists or someone who's going to call themselves a hairstylist, we need to be at least well versed with all textures of hair. We don't necessarily have to be good at doing all textures of hair, but at least be able to have a conversation. And like you say, from the customer service standpoint, to make people feel comfortable and feel good, even if you're not the person who's able to take care of their hair care needs.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So much so agreed. Have you had any memorable incidents that have happened to you as a stylist? I know we deal with chemicals and sometimes we can get ourselves in some situations where we weren't too sure about, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do
I
them
was
anyway.
wondering, yeah, wondering what you meant exactly by memorable incidents. But when you talk about chemicals, it's like there's really two things that come to mind. One is um, the only real way to learn color is to do color. And so you
Not
are gonna,
mannequin either.
exactly. And so it's not always gonna go like, like the book says, the formulas, you gotta understand formulating. Obviously, you gotta understand your color wheel and that type of thing. But then there's the hair.
Yes.
And so there's one client that, it was a friend's client actually, and I don't know if he was out of town or what, but he had kind of referred her to me, and she wore her hair like a high lift blonde. And so
Oh,
it was about 6 hours of just, of doing one thing. It's like, oh no, that's not it. And then doing something else. And it's like, no, that's still not it. And doing something else. And it's like, okay, God, please help me. And so about 6 hours later, I mean, it was like I think her appointment was like at 6 and we finished like around midnight. And I don't usually work that late,
of
but
course.
it was like, okay, but we did finally get there, but it was like, whew, like, whoa.
Yes. And a lot of times I don't think that people disclose to you that they have black on their hair or, that they've been doing certain things to their hair. And you don't know until you actually put that color on. And that new growth is lightened just the way you need it. And the ends are just black and like you never
Well,
touched them.
yeah, well, hers was the opposite because she was already high lift. And so it
Okay.
was trying to get it to all match, and
Oh,
no bands, no, not any brass in there. Not, it was like, oh boy. So it was quite a time. But I've definitely, and we're seeing more and more of it where clients are coming in because they've been doing their hair at home and they've done sometimes Lord knows what.
yes.
And, it's
Yes.
like you've gotta, when I talk about the other things that besides the hair part, like doing a finished style, those are some of the things like seeing on that hair. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, you told me that you didn't have any color, but it looks like I'm seeing something. So what, and start having deeper conversations than them saying, oh no, I haven't done anything. And then a long time for a client is like 2 months.
Yeah.
And we know how much 2 months worth of new growth looks
Exactly.
like, and the rest of their hair has whatever they did 2 months ago, but it was a really long time ago, so they didn't really think to mention it. And it's like,
Exactly. For
yeah, it's
sure.
like, okay, well, something went on, about 2 or 3 months ago. You have any recollection, and then test
Definitely.
ran. Do a strand test before you do a full head of whatever, if you have any suspicion. And then I recommend not even doing, chemical services on a first visit. Just do the client, get to know them, get to know the hair, make a plan for what you're going to do and do it in increments so that you get a good result. And we're seeing a lot of people getting, I'm on some of the boards on Facebook and some of
Mhm.
the groups, and I'm just like, many of these disasters could be avoided. Many.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So it's so you did mention chemicals and doing chemicals. So
Mhm.
with the chemical service that you were exposed to or that you did do, were there any type of particulars that you would do before you apply chemicals to a person's hair?
Yeah, well, it's like I've done all types of chemicals,
Okay.
relaxers, permanent waves or curly perms, both Caucasian and, black or textured hair,
Hmm.
and color, and as well as smoothing systems. So,
Okay.
they're not technically chemicals, but they kind of are. So, so with any services, like you really want to start with clean hair besides a relaxer. It's like the relaxer will take care of everything itself along the way. But
Hmm.
you want to do a hair and scalp analysis, which is like one of the first things in the book, which I'm seeing so many people on Facebook that are like midway during a hairstyle, and then they're seeing that there's something crazy going on with the client's scalp. And
Hmm.
then they're posting a picture and saying, does anybody know what this is? It's like,
Hmm.
if it's not normal scalp, we don't work on it.
Exactly.
We're not licensed to diagnose. So it's like good hair and scalp analysis.
First
Um,
line of defense.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's the basics. So I talk about us going back to the basics,
Yes.
especially after COVID, and, getting brilliant at those basics. But with colors, like you want to do, your analyzation. Like I said, sometimes you might want to do a test strand. You a lot of times may want to do a clarifying treatment before you start the process of that hair, because some people have well water. A lot of people have, like you have the braids and weave, and there's a lot of treatments that happen to some of this hair, and it can get on your hair, and it definitely can affect the way that the chemicals react to the hair. And
Mhm.
so just making sure that everything has been clarified off of that hair. And even it's kind of old school, and now it's kind of coming back to shampoo the hair before a color application, light shampoo, so you're not scrubbing up the scalp too much, but just to remove any hairsprays, any, buildup of products. It's like a lot of us are wearing natural hair, and we're co-washing, which is not really shampooing, and we're adding this moisturizer, and oh, it's kind of frizzy this morning, let me moisturize it down and just add some more product, and
Right.
all of that is gonna create a not even result. So clarifying that hair first.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you've given a lot of good tips when it comes to hair, and definitely I'm sure our audience and our people that are interested in hair, you're definitely helping them out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments. And our last question is, what are some of your future goals that you have for yourself or your business?
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I'm the host of Beauty Superstars Talk. And so it is a talk show slash podcast. And this coming May, it's like we're at the end of April as we tape this, it's like we are going to be revisiting diversity in the industry and
Mhm.
seeing where are we a year from last year, a year out. Unfortunately, my podcast was actually born out of the murder of George Floyd and
Oh,
all of the racial tensions that erupted in the country and then spilled into the industry. And it's still a very highly segregated industry. And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
we want to take a look. I'm going to actually be meeting with 7 people during this month, which is a lot. So, but each of
Wow.
them has unique perspectives, and they're in different facets of the industry. And so I'm really excited about, just having that conversation and seeing where we are and where do we go from here with that. And so, and definitely continuing my podcast on a regular basis and do it every week, and feel like I have like 5,000 people that I want to meet with, or 5 years worth of people that I want to meet with, and it's like
Yeah.
meeting new people like you, Erica, and
Yeah.
want to get you
Mhm.
on there. And but there's so many things that I want to do with that. It's like I did a tribute to Black hair history and getting some things so that this is so that it's housed somewhere where people can actually find the history of of the beauty industry. It's such a powerful industry, and part of our legacy, really since slavery, has been something about community, something for economic development, something that empowers women in
Yeah,
particular. And so we need to know more about where we came from and the shoulders we're standing on. And
definitely.
just looking at merch, looking at some t-shirts and hats and cups and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of good stuff. And, I do the online academy. So just wanting people to get the knowledge that they need to be able to run the business that they want, to create the life that they want. So,
Wow, sounds good. And I'm looking forward to seeing all that come into fruition.
okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm busy. I'm staying busy.
Yes, definitely. That's good. And if I could help out in any way, definitely don't hesitate to ask. I'm
Thank
here
you.
for you. Like you said, I like your mission. I like your show, Superstars of the Hair Industry. Definitely, because I don't feel like we've had a voice. And I think I expressed that to you before, that
Right.
we're so much behind the chair. I
Mhm.
don't think that our lives really mattered, from behind the chair.
Mhm.
But now they're getting to see that we have a lot of impact on our communities, on people's lives, and we're people just the same that they are, not just workhorses.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I think COVID definitely brought out, that it's like, how vital we are. I mean, there's not
Yes,
a stylist that didn't get a call. Are you sure you can't come in? And, it's like we got to see all of our favorite, superstars, entertainers and celebrities and what have you without their glam squad. And
yes,
I feel like some of them just need to be like really like write handwritten notes to their glam squad and say thank you for all you do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We deserve those extra tips, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I
Yep.
thank you so much for your interview, and I thank you for spending time with me on Beyond the Chairs.
Yeah.
Followers, please go follow her YouTube page. She's going to give you her information, her social media contacts, and support Miss Miki. Go ahead and give her your information, Miss Miki.
Thank you so much, Erica. And thank you for having me. It's like your show is wonderful. It's like I'm so glad that you're, having a voice and allowing others to have a voice as well. So it's a privilege to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate
People
it.
follow me on YouTube at Miki Wright, and it's just 1K. So everyone likes to give me extra Ks and Cs and stuff. It's just MIKI WRIGHT. And you can see all of the interviews and everything. And sometimes I slide in some good tips and all for you to grow your business. And on social media, Instagram, it's Miki Wright as well, just MIKI, on LinkedIn as well. And then on Facebook, I have a Beauty Superstars group, and I also have a business page, which is Salon Biz Coach One. So you can follow me there and DM me if you have any questions or anything like that that I can help with. And if you visit beautysuperstars.com, you can sign up for the talks, or you can, or you can actually download. I've got a free gift for everyone that is about salon suites. It's a salon suite success guide. A lot of us are in those suites or we're thinking about it. And it's 5 things to know before you open your salon suite. But it's also perfect if you're already in it to kind of go through and check off, is this is this working? Do I have all this in place? And so I'm hoping it will help stylists to really be able to take better control of their business instead of letting the business control them.
Definitely. Well,
Real
thank you for that information, and thank you for your input and your feedback and your love and positivity that you're giving to our industry.
Well, thank you so much, Erica. I appreciate being here.
Thank
Everyone,
you. And
great, great day.
yes, you too. God bless.
Thank you. Bless you.
Bye bye.